All right, everyone. Good evening. Happy to have you here for our December 14th Board of Trustees meeting, our regularly scheduled meeting. It's the holiday season. It's always good to see you guys, but especially during the holidays. Glad to have such a packed house. I was expecting everybody to be on vacation. All right, so we'll call the meeting to order. First item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. Please take a moment to look at the agenda as it is printed before you. And if everything is in good order, we will entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
I'd like to make a change. The second bullet point under the treasurer's report, instead of saying that it's an approval of the bills, which I have done to the previous bullet point, I'd like it to just say financial reports, from now on.
Okay, so that should read approval of financial reports.
No, it just should say financial reports, just like the one above it says operating.
Got it.
Kathy, why is that?
Well, because, let's look at here. Approval of November 2023 bills. Well, that's what we've just done up here. So we're not voting on it twice. We're moving to accept the financial reports on this one. Two separate.
So
Yeah, two
point of
separate
clarity
things, yeah.
there. Yeah.
I understand.
Okay. All right. Any other comments? Okay. All right. In that case, Kathy, would you be willing to make a motion to approve the agenda with the amendment of the treasurer's report section?
Yes, I make a motion to approve the agenda with the change under the treasurer's report, second bullet point, financial reports.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we would approve the agenda with the adjustment that the second bullet item under treasurer's report will read financial reports. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor, let it be known by saying aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. That will take us to minutes. We have a copy in front of you of the minutes from our November 9th meeting. Crystal distributed these previously during the week as well via email. I'll give everybody a chance to look over those if you need it now. But we would entertain a motion to approve the minutes from the November 9th meeting.
I move that we approve the minutes from the November 9th meeting.
I second.
Okay, it's been moved and properly seconded that we would approve the minutes from the November 9th board meeting. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor, let it be known by saying aye. Any opposed?
Abstain.
Okay, motion carries. That brings us to the treasurer's report. Kathy, I'll turn it over to you.
I move that the board approve the November operating bills totaling $293,846.54.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and properly seconded that we would approve operating bills in the amount of $293,846.54. Any discussion?
Well, yes.
All right, seeing no discussion, all those in favor, let it be known by saying aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries.
I move to receive and file the financial reports.
Is there a second? Thank you for that. It's been moved and properly seconded that we would receive the financial reports. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. I do not believe we have,
Stacy's not here. She's under the weather today, so she did not attend, but she just texted me and said to share.
okay,
That we're on a similar fundraising track from last year and remind them to renew their Friends memberships.
okay, I think that's always a good public service announcement. I will send Stacy a note, hoping that she gets better. She puts in a lot of hours working here in the library as the president of the Friends group, so we appreciate her. And to our visitors, if you are Friends members, thank you. And if you're not Friends members, we'd love for you to join the Friends organization. All right, so that'll take us to the director's report.
Yes. Okay, so, I said I submitted, put in your packet, the library card design actual submissions, but I didn't, and I can't find them online. I was gonna share them with you. I'll send them to you, but they were really cute if you have not seen them. They were posted on social media. The public got to, during September, which is National Library Card Sign Up Month, they got to design library cards, and we had different age groups. And so there were some really cute ones, and the staff got to pick the winners. So, we just did that. I was gonna share the designs. We are on our last payroll with ADP. Our next payroll will be with Paylocity.
Congratulations.
I know. It's very stressful right now getting it all set up because we don't have that much time, but the difference between the two systems is like night and day. Everything that ADP told us they couldn't do, Paylocity can do. So I don't understand where the disconnect was. I think one is a third-party vendor and one is when they created their own software. And so they have more of an ability to customize it to the way their clients can. So,
That's awesome.
yeah. So we're excited about that. I did put in, well, let's talk about employee health insurance. So we are under the umbrella of the city of Farmington Hills for health insurance. And so the cost of the health insurance we had for the past several years was going to double in cost to both the employee and the library. So the city of Farmington Hills had to look for a new insurance that would be more feasible, economical for both the employer and the employee. So it's still a Blue Care Network plan. It's just it now has a deductible and it has some different things. So we rolled that out to staff like in November, I think, through a meeting. So that will start in January. But didn't have a choice. If you want to look through this is the plan that they came up with.
I would ask you to share with us the plan document, and at least for next year, we could be thinking about it through our personnel committee. If we want to continue or explore other options.
Well, you don't really have a choice.
Why?
Well, because, so the way, it's the way that the library is like categorized as the same as the public schools. Do you remember that? And you have to pay more as an employee than if we're under the city umbrella, we pay less.
Okay.
I mean, you do have a choice if you want to pay more.
If you want to pay more.
Right.
So it's actually a good deal.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, and it does, yeah.
Okay. All right.
So-
I'd still like to take a look at it just to be aware.
Yeah. And over the past several years, it hasn't changed. It's just been the same. It's the same program. It's just a little bit different. You have more out of pocket expense, but less costs coming out of your paycheck.
Right.
So this one, so.
But it's probably more of a managed care type of a situation.
It's
that-
always been the HMO.
Okay, so
It's,
that didn't change.
that didn't change.
Okay.
It's just, yeah.
Alright.
So. So I was notified, this is just informational because we have to file taxes. So Plant Moran is our accounting firm and they do our tax forms for us every year. This is the notification that they'll be doing a third party and they've done it in the past. I have to sign this, but I just wanted you guys to see it and pass that along. What else do I have on here? Oh, the TLN borrowing agreement. So TLN is the library network. And this is our consortium, 72 libraries within the Metro Detroit area. So we have reciprocal borrowing privileges at all of those libraries where you can take your library card, and they just need to renew the agreement reciprocal that we will participate. And then I had to list on the back page the things that we don't allow non-residents to check out. And that was just informational too, so.
Can I ask a question?
Mhm.
I read this with interest and I was just curious about return policies. What is required? If I go to Redford and borrow a book, and I bring it back here?
Yes,
Really?
yep, and because we have a delivery every morning. And they pick up the items that are returned and they bring our stuff back. So, yeah. Mhm.
Now,
Now, it takes a little bit longer to get back to us. But, so it's not like it comes the next day, because it's gotta go through a whole process, but it does get back to us.
Does it get checked in at their library?
No,
No,
It's,
right back to
yeah,
us.
yeah, they will mark on there like the date it was returned at their library, and then it,
now the restrictions on the items that we don't share are those items, and those items all made sense to me.
Mhm.
But are those pretty much common across?
Yeah.
Okay, I
Yeah.
figured everybody kind
Yeah.
of had that same.
Yeah.
list.
like new books. We don't share. Well, if you walk in the you can't interlibrary loan anything that is over. Well, no, we don't limit. No, if you walk in the library, you can check out a new book. We can't put it on hold for you if you don't belong to the library.
Right.
You can't
But
get in the
more,
hold
I
list.
was speaking about the technological.
Oh, yeah.
items
Yeah.
that- Yeah.
Yes. Well, because those are high demand and we don't have a lot of them.
And if you lose them, they're a lot higher cost.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And then this was this morning. I just gave you this, the city of Farmington Grand River Corridor. That was this morning at 8 o'clock, if anybody decided to go.
No, but
Just for your informational
I
purposes.
do think that would probably be something of interest if there's a board member who's so inclined to attend that meeting.
Yeah.
I think that's something that could be.
Yeah.
I think the meeting already was, Ernie.
Well,
Right.
I'm thinking of the future meetings, because I know that that's an effort, that's a part
Okay.
of the collective community that everybody's trying to put a little bit more focus in and trying to do some revival there. So if there's somebody who's interested in attending, I think that makes sense in the future.
Okay, so then what else do I have? Okay, so we were visited by Michigan Municipal Library, not library, Michigan Municipal League, thank you. And for our loss control, and of course, we passed with flying colors. So this is the so 0% library, so 11.26 over the past from 2019, 11.26% over from 2019 to 2023. This is our cumulative pool loss ratio. That's for liability and property pool. And the one, everything is 0% except for 20 and 2021. And that would be because of the director payout at that time. And then workers' compensation, we have gone down every year. We're at 0.89% right now. So we're doing well. What else do I have on here? Oh. Inspection fire,
So
firewall door has been approved. Yay. Long time coming. Yes, long process. What else do I have? Okay. We have the town hall on Monday. And so we had a nice presentation. We talked about our strategic plan. We talked about our impact report, annual report. This is a copy of the annual report that I'll just share with you. I didn't print it because it's many, many, many pages, but it will be, Sarah will be sending them to the printer. and be nicely printed along with the strategic plan, and then we'll have copies to all of you, but you can browse.
People came to the town hall.
We had,
We had 3 members of the public present, 4 of you included.
Zoom.
and 13 on Zoom, yeah.
And
Yeah.
this is the first time I think that we've had
This is the
this,
first time we've had it.
particular meeting. I think as trustees, the next time I know for sure, I will be sharing it and broadcasting it more widely and maybe through the COHA, the homeowners associations and such to have a larger crowd. The message was very good. I think as you guys review the report, it showcases what we've been able to do and gives a lens into what we want to do as you look at the strategic planning activities that we'll have coming in the future.
That would be a good thing to promote through COHA.
Yeah.
Because, and piggyback on a week when they meet, because they're representatives of all the associations.
And Kathy, I mean, I will say, has asked me actually to come to COHA, so that is something that is on my agenda for 2024 for sure. And we'll probably make a condensed version of that presentation. But it was nice to see the staff. We had several members of staff that were able to present and representation from the IDEA committee. So I was happy to see it if no one else was. And we have 14 online.
13.
13?
Yeah,
Okay.
including the host. I thought I mean, knowing a lot of that information already, it is really impressive when you hear it all together. And I think that was, I mean, in the chat, at least, that was kind of the sentiment, right? Like
Yeah.
people were really impressed.
Yeah. I was
So
happy.
thank you guys for doing that.
Mhm.
I think additionally, we kind of talked about doing those forums because, we decided as we move into this master planning phase, there was a question around, well, do we have another public survey opportunity? And we kind of said, well, no, we won't go that way, but we'll try to have these interface opportunities where the public can understand where we are as we move through these processes and give us feedback that way.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So thanks for doing that.
Yep. As you saw, the master plan, we were supposed to meet December 7th, but it's been pushed to January 8th, I think. They have so many ideas that they're having a hard time putting it all together. I keep getting people emailing me and say, hey, I just thought of this. Can you pass this on to Steve? And I do, and I don't know what they're gonna do with all those ideas, but what else do I have? Oh, I have some photos. Oh, I have some photos for you. Oh, I'm gonna have to share my screen now.
Can I ask a question about?
You can.
The pool loss ratio history, why did we lose 2020 to 2021, 57%?
That was the payout.
Oh, to.
Right.
Okay, thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah.
Gotcha.
I just wanted to share this with you. I was sitting at the browsing desk, working at the browsing desk one day.
Oh.
Just- And I mean, they walked in that way and they went downstairs and then they came up from the elevator and she's riding the little bike and they were going out the door. Yeah, it was. And then, so the new AMH machine is in. It is, and they're using it. It's so easy to use and it is such a smaller footprint. Look at that. I mean, it was all along this wall here and all over here and then up over here and then down, blah, blah, blah. But here it is. There's that one picture. It's,
And it does everything.
and it does everything and it's so quiet. It's like, there's another picture. Hang on. What happened? Which one did I hear? There we
And
go.
I see why they didn't want the conveyor from the front,
Yeah.
because it's just all open there.
Yeah. So you stand down at this end here and this, you put them on there, it swings down, it sorts into the bins. You can program the bins to sort any way that you want. And as the books come down, it's the ergonomic system. So it just goes down and down and down. When you take the books up, it comes back up. And this computer right here shows them what's being checked in. It goes across the title, if it's got a hold on it, if there's an issue with it or whatever. And so, yeah, it's amazing.
So what do they have coming out of the outside book return? Is there a check in there?
Yep, so it's the same kind of system. It doesn't have this computer there because there's nobody standing there. So it's gonna have where you set it on and it will sort two ways. It will sort holds and it will just sort everything else.
And there's a restick printer on this one?
Yep.
And does that print out like all the other stuff used to? Does it print the same?
It prints the holds so that you can put the holds on there right now.
So it doesn't, does it print the name and that kind of?
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
just like we had before.
Mhm.
Cool.
Mhm.
I wasn't sure whether you're going to be able to integrate that software into that.
Oh, yeah.
Super.
Yep. So, our next step, you can't see it, I didn't take a picture of it. So here's this ledge.
Mm.
And so we had to remove the ledge because the return, the inside return is down over there. And so in order to get the cart over there for them to return items, you had to remove the ledge. So there's about a foot hole in the, in the floor right now, but it'll be filled. So yeah. And then, what else do I want to show you? Oh, this is our staff day photo. So this was staff day. It was cold, but it was
You can't
nice.
tell from the picture.
No, you can't. It was- Well, I know, well, yeah, but yeah, it was a good day. And then, we are doing first grade field trips right now from all the public schools. And, oh, I probably didn't share that I didn't share that one with everybody, but I'll share the next one. So we had a visit from, Dr. Delgado and Diane Bowman. And, I would say tweeted, but it's not tweet anymore. He axed. It's that he had a great day for a walk to the library for his esteemed first graders. And he took pictures of them at the library, so that was nice. I had to actually find a staff member who belongs to X and get them to screenshot it. So, yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So, because you can't just see it anymore, you gotta join. But yeah, so. And I think, oh, correspondence, I do have a few things. Well, yeah, and this was just the message that Crystal had sent to Dr. Delgado saying, thank you so much for joining. And his response back, it was our sincere pleasure. Not sure if you're on X, aka Twitter, but I tweeted out a thank you with some pics after I left. You can find me at FPS Soup. And that's how we found him. We have got this lovely letter from a patron at the Farmington branch who talked about how she's loved libraries her life since 1963. She's enjoyed books from the Farmington branch library, and first on the one in Farmington Road and then at the current location at Liberty Street. And so what she did was she wanted to she's read 100 books so far this year, and she wanted to give a little back to the library. So she gave $1 for each book.
Oh, awesome.
So,
Wow.
right.
We could get everybody in town to do that.
Right. And this is just Farmington Youth Assistant Maria is the liaison from Farmington Youth. This is their annual report. I just thought it was interesting if anybody wanted to read it. And I think that's it. Do you have any questions?
Kelly, was there anything about the Narcan?
Oh, Narcan dispensers are going to be delivered, yes, not yesterday, tomorrow, sometime between 10 and 2 at both buildings. And there will also be at City Hall and other places, other public buildings around the city.
Awesome.
Has there been a problem here?
No, not that.
I know in Ann Arbor, they have serious problems
Oh, yeah.
with homeless people, passing out in bathrooms and stuff.
Yeah, no, we've never had that problem. It will be outside because of the privacy, people feel more comfortable. I mean, you don't know who's gonna take it. Is it somebody who has a family member that and needs to replenish, it's not that kind of thing. So it will be somewhere outside on the building property, and somewhere that is visible, but not, that's gonna, like, if you think about Liberty Street, when you even get close to the door is open and your head comes up. Right, so it's not gonna be close to a door that's gonna trigger that, because then everybody will see, so and it'll allow, we have ideas, but I think the coalition that puts them in place can guide where they think is the best location, and we'll let them do that.
Mhm.
And they're totally responsible for filling them, and they check once a week and that kind of stuff, so.
You had talked many months ago about training, is staff trained in any way to use Narcan?
No.
Okay.
And there's no requirement or,
Right, I
you know,
understand.
expectation that staff could, but I feel like it's not hard to do. That somebody could just grab one and use it if that was somebody sent, actually, when I put the email out about the Narcan dispenser, somebody sent a video out and said, if you want to know how to do it, here's a very simple video, so.
There were some helpful patron comments, and I was just wondering about the lights going on at night.
Oh, so those were on a timer, and Sharon just said there's a few, those were on a timer, and as the days get earlier and earlier, you gotta like, you reset that timer.
Can I speak to that actually? Okay, so, as the interim facilities manager. So, Peter started, and Donald has not trained Peter on how to use the, control panel that is at locations. It's a very old panel, so there's a lot of steps to adjusting it. So we have been adjusting the time down, as it's gotten darker earlier, so now it's set for the parking lot lights to turn on at 5 o'clock and then off at 7 AM. So last 2 weeks ago, I was here and I noticed that they hadn't turned on. And so I went downstairs and reset it, and I think at some point we might have had a power glitch, which like kicked it out of auto mode. And so I think that was the problem with that. The reason that they put in that comment is because it had switched out of the automatic. So I just reset it, and it, like I said, it's an old panel, so sometimes that happens. So I'm glad they did say something, because otherwise I wouldn't.
Oops.
Actually, I was saying, it should be checked at least once a week, because that's a super security feature. If those lights are on when it's raining and it's 6 o'clock and it's dark. And like I mentioned it, tonight there are 3 major lights out in that parking lot. And that, like, those lights should all be on every single night, because that's dangerous. And they're all in one row, actually. There are 2 of them out.
Okay.
So.
I'll alert Peter, he might have to contact
Yeah.
an electrician to come out.
And
It's
Jill,
really important, for security purposes, that those lights are always on.
Oh, for sure.
I would say, kind of like with a lot of things around here, as we talk about the facilities aging and the needs. I think the board, I don't know if it would even require board approval, but modernization of the timing system is something that we certainly would support and entertain if Peter decides that's what we need to do. So.
I mean, it's lovingly referred to as the Jimmy Carter panel. And then there are these like other stations throughout the library on all different floors and all weird areas where there are a physical timer that you have to like unscrew and tighten. I mean, it's really old, so it does need to be replaced that way.
And I mean, you may even bring that up, maybe not down the line, maybe like next year.
Sooner.
Yeah.
Right.
I did find the winners of the library card design. So this is ages 5 to 12. So this is what your card would look like, and this is what that little key card would look like. That's, yeah, this was,
Can you only get that card if you're 5 to 12?
no, that's the age of the person who designed it. This was one of my favorites. Yeah. I loved the detail. And this would be the little key card thing. That's age 13 to 17. This is Metamorphosis.
No. Metamorphosis is the one down below.
Oh, is that it? Oh, book dragons, there you go. Sorry. And then this was, that was, yeah, I like that one too.
Monet, water lilies, yeah, impressionism.
Yeah, so those were the winners.
Awesome. Can any patron get a new card at any time
Yeah,
without fee?
I believe so. I don't think we charge a fee anymore.
I'm just confirming.
Yeah.
So they used to charge it.
Asking for- I was gonna
Yeah.
say.
Well, I don't know, yeah,
So
but-
really- Yeah, right.
yeah.
Cause I'm sure with all these new designs, they're gonna be people who just want. a
I
new
have my card
like,
memorized.
I
It's
want a new
like,
card now.
but yeah, I know, but I have my card memorized.
New number?
Oh, no, right? No, if I could get a new card with the same number, then yeah.
Fortunately, I have not memorized my library card. I don't know why.
Anyway, do you have, anybody have any questions for me? Any other questions? Otherwise, I will turn it over to Pat. Oh, one other thing. I did talk about the firewall. The wall has been painted, so we went, because we had to, the drywall and that stuff, we painted all the stuff, and now we just need to move all the bookcases back. And then we should be good to go for that area, so.
Okay. In my mind, I had that question, but I was unsure of the answer, so I didn't ask.
I didn't know that
Well,
was, that
thank
was
you.
it.
All right.
Okay, so then I'll turn, you wanna come sit here?
Yeah.
Pat? Okay, so there is someone online, so you will have to share, but I have your PowerPoint
Okay.
up. It's,
Are we sharing the whole screen right now?
yeah, just do share screen and find it. Yep.
There's a picture in here.
Well, I look quite serious, don't I?
Yeah, I saw that. I said, look at Bob handling this.
Yeah, I think I just met Sharon. Very nice to meet you. Yeah, first time here. Yeah, a couple new faces. For the most part, very nice to meet you.
Well, Pat, we have to have you come back and introduce yourself again. So now that we have two new board members.
Well, I'll start with an introduction. Pat McCormick, IT Director. I've been here about 2.5 years, a little north of that now, so it's been a great group. Plenty of projects, and we've got another one. Let's get into it. So in August, early August, we had a power outage. It took, matter of fact, both buildings went down. This building was hit quite a bit harder. A lot of our aging equipment, that all of our server infrastructure was running on that we still host, when it came back, the equipment failed. So we had hardware failures on 8 to 12-year-old pieces of equipment. So well past its expected life cycle, it's out of support, all of that. So we tried everything to bring it back, different tricks, couldn't do it. We ended up having one of our partners leased equipment. We migrated everything off of the old environment. We were able to recover everything by way of the configuration. So we kind of sidestepped what was down. So we've been up ever since. It's been running well, much better than we were before, because it's newer equipment that we sit on right now. But again, the point to aging hardware, this was a project that was next on my list for sure. Was originally thinking mid Q1 24. Now I'm thinking right now. I have to. So we had our hand forced a little bit here. The new infrastructure is going to be quite a bit simpler than what we had before. So this is going to fit what we're doing and what we will be doing in the future much better. We've got core services like Polaris and our mail server. Those are our web and our website as well. Those are all hosted now. So that takes strain off of our environment. I don't need to replace hardware with a one-to-one. So we can look at a cost savings, a simplification of what we had before, and just, again, a better fit. We've also got legacy hardware at Farmington, that the original setup was there was backup. So we were backing up from here to there. That's no longer the way we work. It's from here to our backup to our cloud. So all of that old hardware can be turned off, can be decommissioned. We can pull a rack out of that space, and we desperately need space in there. So big cost savings just on energy use alone. So we'll get that out of there, and really part the way Farmington's connected, we run through leased fiber through the school system. So they only need a very small footprint of IT infrastructure there.
We still have a telephony server.
We do, yes.
Okay.
Yep, so that one is, again, that'll be phased out here too coming up. But for now, we're with ITI. So what we're doing with the new equipment, we'll have what is still hosted here. Different services like our shared drives. There are various servers that are virtualized that we still do host internally, and will continue to for a while, near future at least. That'll improve in their reliability with the way that this is designed. We'll have quite a bit of redundancy. If we were to lose a server or something went down, we could easily move things to make sure we don't, have to put a banner on our website again saying that X isn't working right now or whatever it might be. The idea here is to use this implementation for 5 to 7 years. It's a security issue as well. We haven't been able to put our existing equipment under a service contract for quite some time. The servers themselves that run on this hardware are well out of date from the operating standpoint. So security patches are not being released anymore by Microsoft, not being supported. So that's a big gap to fill there. Simplest way is just to upgrade the operating system on all of the servers as part of the project. But all of that has to happen with new equipment, so it's kind of a waterfall effect. We had several proposals. A 30-day public bid was held in October. The 3 vendors that we came down to were as shown, all with the same solution with varying pricing. Now that happens for various reasons with their level of partnership with the vendor directly, their labor costs. But
Did you see variance in licensing costs as well?
no, licensing is a 1-to-1. That's one of those things where markups, it's an easy way to lose your partnership with vendors when you start trying to profit off of their license costs. So didn't see a variation there. So Elevate Technology, not just because of the price point, is what I'm looking for approval for tonight. They're based out of Grand Rapids. I had several conversations with them and their engineers. They have a real good understanding of our requirements and had excellent suggestions along the way on what we could do a little better, what would fit, what we look like here in 3 to 5 years. Are we planning on moving equipment, more services off site, hosted elsewhere, that kind of thing. So we looked at scalability, consolidation, and really general simplification of what we have, all by way of increasing performance and stability. So as I mentioned, Elevate is certainly the vendor that I feel most comfortable with here for the project. Can kind of went over this in the last slide. But again, I met with their engineer personally about a month ago, and you can tell pretty quickly whether or not they've got the experience, and they're definitely a good partner to work with. So that's kind of where we're at. All of this is pertaining to Farmington Hills for the equipment. So we're not doing anything but turning and removing hardware from Farmington. So
I have a question.
yes,
Elevate, will be kind of a long-term partner, right? You want to keep the same,
That's
So,
correct.
what is the strength of their company? How long have they been doing this and what is the strength of their underlying? Will they be here in 2 years and we still need them?
Sure, Elevate has got, I believe it's 20 years, and I'll go back and get the specifics for you, but about 20 years of service out of Grand Rapids. Part of our, this project does include direct support from Elevate. So, of course, you want your partner to stay in business, support, what you're paid for. In the event that they are not here for whatever reason, we have direct with the manufacturer support agreements as well. So these are, exactly, so this is Dell, and they're there as more of a consultant level, but it's, if we took them out of the circle, I'm still fine. We can work directly with vendors, yeah, and I've got plenty of experience in the space as well. So it's more of an insurance policy for the vendor support.
I have a question.
Yes.
Yes, I'm not particularly savvy
Mhm.
technologically. Could you give us an itemization of what exactly our 33,000 commits to?
I sure could. Yes, absolutely. I can get you a line
Yeah,
item.
excellent.
I can share that out after the meeting.
Just a little off topic, now that we no longer have to pay a third party for internet security,
Mhm.
what are you doing with that? What are-
So you're referring to the MBM agreement that's no longer. So we had purchased some of that cost, it was 800 a month. Was related to our licensing for our firewalls, our subscription fee. When I went to move that over with the vendor to us directly to make sure we didn't have MBM in the middle still, I found out that they had actually purchased a year in advance. So although we paid for it, we still have 8 months of that subscription to use. So there is no additional cost coming out of those firewalls for the next 8 months after that, which is perfect because those aren't necessarily the right solution for us as it stands right now. So that gives us 8 months to look at a replacement there. But from a security level, that's now back to me looking at patching. Much of it can be automated. So
Because the NBM solution was designed around the previous architecture, not what we have now, right?
that's part of it. And it was also designed around pure profit.
It's
I mean,
cost,
they
yeah.
just, I'm looking at what they were offering for that additional, roughly 200 of that was legitimate to the vendor for their subscription, the other 600.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
you're welcome.
One question I have,
Mhm.
Pat, you mentioned, this work will go on here.
Mhm.
We're removing legacy equipment from the system at Farmington,
Mhm.
so we won't have that backup. When we think about our total system overall, beyond this, what would you see as, items that might be in a future fail state or end of life or risk as you would see them?
Sure. So if you look at our overall infrastructure, next in line here after the service, so we went through with the network refresh last year. Wireless, the full stack, that's looking excellent, cabling as well. After this, our phone system, most certainly needs to be looked at, and changed. We're not built for hosting necessarily, so with our organization size, there's a lot of options for hosted solutions externally, whether it be Mitel or, there's so many out there, but we can look at those options on the phone system side, remove that. So basically, we simplify and reduce where we can. It doesn't make sense to host. There are certain technologies that still do make a lot of sense, and I don't ever anticipate being totally offsite with what we do, but having a good hybrid solution is nice. So long-term phone system, after that, probably looking at our camera security system.
So when you say off-site, off-site, what are you alluding to?
Wow.
Okay.
And I think having a hybrid strategy is very smart. So-
It is, and it's, by design, it also hardens our security footprint as it is, because if we were to have a total breach right now, it's so even today, it's so separated and segregated that you're not going to be able to access, our ILS system or our mail server. So it's
Yeah.
by design having things in different places. You don't. Now, of course, you're dependent on whoever that service is, their own security, because it's essentially just someone else's server, but at a larger scale.
Timing on this project. From your perspective.
So if we were, obviously, I'll provide the line item for what the project entails. If I were to call them tomorrow and give the all clear, we were looking at previously right around October, November, about a 4 to 6 week lead time on hardware. And then once the hardware is available, that's within a matter of weeks to implement the new solution. We ideally can do this without downtime. The way that we're, because of how we are right now with the leased equipment and the technologies that are available to move servers while they're still on, essentially. We can do it without much noise at all, which is excellent. Obviously didn't want to, get into a situation where you're paying premium for after hours work and more disruption than's needed.
So is
So-
it safe to say end of Q1?
End of Q1 would be a good safe estimate, yes. Yeah, it'd be something would have had to go significantly wrong if we're not done by end of Q1.
Any other questions for Pat?
You're focusing here, in the Farmington Hills building, but Liberty Street's gonna need some work too, is that right?
No, not necessarily. So Liberty is very much connected to everything that happens here at Farmington Hills. So they have one small server that handles logins and different basic tasks, but for the most part, they're connected via fiber over 3 miles to this location. So any major change I do here impacts them. Mhm.
Anything else for Pat? All right, thank you very much, Pat.
You're welcome. And
Um,
to be clear, would you guys like to review the line item before approval?
I think so. And we typically like to have, a meeting like this one where you come in and give us, the intel and we digest it and
Okay.
then we'll vote, at the next meeting. Of course, if there's a pressing, issue, or if you feel like it's of imminent, importance that we take a vote today, that's something that we would definitely take under consideration.
Okay.
So I would look to your advisement for that, and that's kind of why I ask about the timing, if you feel like this is something we need to consider for approval tonight, or if we could wait until January.
I would be more on the side of approval this evening, just for the fact that we have been on this leased equipment since August. It's stable, but my level of comfort isn't real high running on essentially someone else's bare metal hardware.
Plus, there's the wait time to get,
Yeah, there is. So, anything pushed out another month, it's been a process to this point already. So, if we were comfortable with that, I'd like to take a vote this evening.
Okay. Well, we have it on the agenda for new business tonight, and so we'll take it under advisement
Okay.
and, move forward from there.
Understood.
All right, thank you, Pat.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Kelly, I see we have facilities update listed. Are there any other items we want to talk about?
No, I-
Facility.
Jill, can you think of any other facilities? I did the painted wall, we did the,
So I know that, the elevator that leads from the atrium up
Oh,
to
yeah.
the second level, Schindler elevator has been out, they had to do some testing, and now that they know what is wrong with it, they're gonna do the actual fix to it, which the good news is we don't have to pay for it. So that hopefully will be fixed in the next week or so, I think. But other than that, no other updates I can give them.
I plan on having Peter come to the January meeting so that you can meet him. Sharon met him today. He's the facilities manager. Sharon, do you remember him? she's not saying, but she met him today, but, so.
All right. Thank you very much. That will take us to unfinished business. And so we have Michigan class, on the agenda tonight. As you guys might remember, we had a representative from Michigan class here, I believe, last month. To discuss, the opportunity to use that investment vehicle, as another option within our strategy. So Kathy, I think I will turn it over to you if you have any comments around Michigan class.
Yeah, because I did go on their site and look to see what their interest was paying. It was 5.5%. For our current Fidelity, we have our money market, which is paying 4.99%. Our bond funds are 4.35%. And our cash is 5.2. We don't have a lot in cash. So I'm thinking that I'd like to transfer our Fidelity monies to Michigan class. I had asked you what your thoughts were on keeping the restricted money in Fidelity, but I didn't hear back from you, so I don't know. I had thought about that. In our endowment account, there's $1,000, a little more than $1,000, I think, that is restricted. And that can only be used at Farmington Library. And I think that, considering what a restricted fund is, it's you can only use the well, anyways, it's restricted to it only being used for. So I'm not sure how you all would think about putting all of the money in Michigan class, if you want to do that, because it's so much better yield, or keeping the restricted fund in Fidelity.
Okay, thank you. I think from my perspective, I think the Michigan class, and for everyone's awareness, the Michigan class is a government entity fund, if you will. The participants are all members of state or local governments in Michigan. And as you all know, there are only certain investments that we can even take part in, right? But this fund is specifically tuned to government entities, and they ensure that we are only in things that we can be in. And I think when you look at the overall expense ratio by joining the class, it's a lot lower than we could do on our own independently, from an expense perspective. So from my perspective, I would be in support of us. I think in order for us to join the class, the board would have to make a motion to open an account with Michigan class. So that would be what would have to be done in order for us to join Michigan class. They are currently paying, I think it's about 1% or
5.5%.
right, but more than 1% more than what we're gaining in all of our other vehicles. Yeah.
Kathy said 499, right, currently?
Well, yes.
Okay.
Is the money
Half
market.
percent.
So at 0.5, 0.6.
Kathy, one thing she said, the representative, is that she wasn't real clear about your ACH movement, you know, when you want money coming out of the fund. And she said the charges or fees to that would depend on the bank you work with. You remember that?
I don't remember.
Because some entities use theirs, the money coming in comes in every month, and some of them use the money coming out to pay payroll or something. So some of the banks, there's might be sometimes the ACH fee is $40. I'm not sure, but you might want to add that to the calculation of what the interest is, that it might offset it, the cost of moving the money in and out. If you're going to do that frequently or.
Well, I can tell you that as long as I've been here, we've never touched the endowment, and we only put money into it. So I mean, there may be some time when we need to take monies out, but right now it's just an accumulation of good stuff.
So I was not here for that presentation. Are there restrictions on the use of the money if we put it in? I mean, are we locked in like we would with a CD?
No, no.
And I think interest is paid
Daily.
Daily,
Daily, it's compounded
and,
daily.
literally you can transfer out of it daily at any time.
Mhm.
And Sharon, to your question around the bank transfers, I mean, we currently have a situation where we do transfer between the accounts we have now and we don't have any fees associated to that. So,
Right.
I think we're okay with fees because we recoup enough on what we have in the bank to cover, they're paying us kind of, so. But good question, because that all kind of figures into what is the actual expense ratio, you know, you have to look at all of the expenses there.
To clarify, is it two motions that, like, one to open the Michigan class account and then one motion, a separate motion to transfer either with the restricted funds or not? Is it two separate motions or is it?
In my mind, at this point, I think we probably would need two motions. We certainly need a motion to open the Michigan class account to join that. And then like historically in the past, Jim, I think we have, like when we closed bank accounts or made adjustments like that, those have required board approval. I think.
And if you want to just transfer everything, I mean, there's not a problem doing that. It's just.
You're right, Aaron. When we've changed, but yes, we have.
So, any other questions, thoughts? These are all good questions.
Do you have any documentation on class? I'm sorry, I don't have anything.
Not with me.
Can we see if Crystal has something from the last board meeting?
Oh, and let's say this, I mean, this is not, of a timely nature. I mean, we don't have to do this today. So Bob, if you would feel more comfortable.
The only reason I ask, Ernie, I wasn't here for the past couple of meetings
Right.
and I'm a step behind.
Yeah,
And I'm particularly concerned about putting $500,000 somewhere I don't know anything about.
yeah, absolutely. So I don't have any gripe with that. I definitely would rather us all be comfortable, before moving forward.
Sure.
So Kathy, if you don't mind, why don't we table this item?
Sure.
And we will bring it back next month.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Kathy, do you have, any, like, inkling of, with the restricted funds, is there any benefit to keeping it in Fidelity or putting?
No, I mean, it would just be to separate it, so
Okay.
we could put it all together, because we know how much there is. So it doesn't change, that doesn't change.
Well, and quite frankly, a part of the investment strategy with the Fidelity account involves a bond fund. And we went many months, I think the first 12 months I was on the board with that fund posting negative results,
It
right?
still is.
And so that is a lot of what prompted the question around what do we do with this Fidelity situation? And with interest rates where they are, it just doesn't make sense to have something at risk, when you can just kind of have a guaranteed solution at this point.
Yeah.
So,
And that's what I'd like to know more about, because I do anticipate that interest rates will decline. Particularly after, given the Federal Reserve's announcements
Right.
yesterday. And so, I just need to know more.
and that's what we've always said about the particular bond fund, right? I mean, it had a downturn, but what goes up comes down and vice versa, right? So we want to make sure we understand what's in that fund. It may make sense to preserve the Fidelity.
Is that the same
account.
thing? Okay.
Yeah, so I think Bob taking a look at it won't hurt anything. He'll be able to give us some good insight on that piece of it. Beyond this Michigan class discussion, though, I think there's a larger discussion of financial strategy that will be addressed kind of through the master planning process even, right? So I think there's some other work to do there.
Bob, one thing the representative said when asking her to be more specific about exactly what investments were, she basically just kind of said, oh, some small, some short-term treasury bills. She wouldn't be very specific about actually what the mix was of investments, so that might be something to follow up a little more. She kind of skirted that issue a little bit.
Well, I'll be home for a few days over Christmas. I'll spend time with my computer.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you for doing that, Bob. And we'll put this on the agenda for January.
I gotta figure out what to do with some of my own money. I mean, might as well look.
Well, I don't think you can put yours in there.
All right.
That's actually not the plan.
All right, subcommittee updates.
Wait, you going to define contribution?
Oh, sorry. Okay, next up, defined contribution waiting period. Kelly, are you?
So I sent you the other libraries, I pulled the other libraries, I gave you that information, so you have options, you have more information.
All right. So at last meeting, we talked about adjustments to our defined contribution benefit plan. I think we had a schedule that was provided to us, as a proposal. I think several of us thought maybe, it wasn't generous enough as far as the vesting schedule, I think was the sentiment. And so we wanted to look at what some other libraries were doing to see, how what was proposed compared.
Mhm.
So, Kelly, do you have a recommendation from staff based on what you saw from the various libraries around?
I do not. I like pieces of all of them. I don't necessarily like one. I like pieces of all of them. So,
What pieces do you like?
can I say, I didn't eat right away. So, and I don't, I want to be as consistent with what we already have, because if you have too many options, then it's just very confusing for staff. So, but I gotta tell you, I really kind of did like the point, if, I think it was Canton. If the employee doesn't put anything in, then we don't put anything in. You know, you gotta match. I mean, ours is not necessarily a match, and so I kind of,
I don't think we should try and match the others. I mean, your other plans that you have here, just to pick the best plan for the
Right.
future.
right. So,
So what do you like?
It seemed like our plan that you proposed fell sort of right in the middle.
it is in the middle,
Fall
right,
in the middle
right. I
of-
mean, I can see the majority of them are 3 years. So you're,
I like Rochester's myself.
And I
Yeah.
don't, I hate to say this, but, Kelly, what's the timing on this? When do we need to decide this?
you just have to start at the beginning of a month.
Okay, that's good, because the reality is you're the personnel chair, Bob. So I honestly think, quite frankly, that the personnel committee might
Makes a
ought
recommendation.
to take a look at what the other libraries have
Yeah,
done
and make a
a
recommendation.
recommendation. I know the folks on the personnel committee, maybe some new folks want to join the personnel committee, right? But I think that's probably the best thing to do, maybe, if you all aren't opposed.
I agree.
Okay. All right. So Bob, let's plan to have a personnel committee meeting in January. We have one additional item that we need to consider as well, and I'll give you some background on that. All right, so we will table
Table.
defined
You want this back.
contribution waiting period until January, and we're actually gonna defer it to the personnel committee for a recommendation.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. All right, so that brings us to new business. The first item on the list for new business is the approval of the server replacement project, which Pat talked to us about tonight.
I'm sorry, we're just, so there is no update from subcommittees?
Oh,
I don't have,
sorry. Yes, a subcommittee updates. Any updates?
I'm not, no.
Okay, yeah, I don't have any.
Not
So
for-
that would be personnel, finance and
Strategic.
strategic planning. Yeah, no,
So no,
Miss the millage discussion.
no, that's on the bottom.
that's next.
New business.
I don't have that. Oh, okay. Thanks. Thank you.
All right. Sir.
All right, so we are at new business, approval of server replacement project. I was nervous, when we had the outages and when we had the incident that all of this stems from, right? And to Pat's point, we have kind of been in a temporary situation since then. I know when I joined this board, we were in a lot of technological trouble. And Pat has been a good guide, a sure-footed guide to get us out of that trouble. So I do personally trust his guidance implicitly on that. And this has gone to bid, and he's recommending the lowest bid, and he feels the lowest bid is going to give us the best service and support. So personally, I'm comfortable with it. I would certainly entertain a motion, to approve the expenditure for the server replacement, if for no other reason than to get it open for discussion. So if there is such a motion, I would entertain it at this time.
I'll make a motion, to approve the purchase of new servers, in part of the server replacement project using the vendor Elevate.
I second.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded that we would approve the bid from Elevate for server replacement. Any discussion?
I'd like to call for a vote.
Let's go for it. You want a roll call?
Okay,
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay,
Okay, motion carries. Thank you, Bob.
I know it does.
Yep. All right, Pat, motion's approved. Thank you very much. Now that takes us to millage discussion. So Kelly, I'll turn it back to
Okay.
you.
I gave you a bunch of stuff. First of all, Sharon had asked me if I could talk about what millages we do have. So let me see, hang on, if I can just share my screen for a second. Huh. Maybe I didn't bring it up. Well, let me see. I'm just gonna minimize this for a second. Apparently- Oh, goodness. Oh, there we go. And it's going to. There we go. All right, I'm gonna get rid of this. I'm gonna get rid of this. I got so much stuff. Okay. I know I saved it. Hang on a second. Maybe I didn't. Oh, yes, I did. Yes, why won't it open? Oh, there it is. Okay. So let me see if I can now share my screen. Okay. There it is. All right. These are our millages. This comes from Oakland County. Okay, so we have two millages. We have one that gets levied in December. And that is the one that's expiring in December of 2024.
And
So,
when do we have it? Because I can't read, it's too far away.
oh, when do we have it?
When did it start and when does it end?
It started in 2005.
Okay.
It ends in December of 2024.
Oh, all right.
So it's 20 years.
years.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the original millage was 1 mil that was asked for. It's rolled back by the Headley amendment, so it's down to 0.9298.
Okay.
And then we had one that started in 2011. And it ends, that one is levied in July and it ends in 2032.
2032.
Mm-hmm.
And it's for how much?
It's 0.544. It was originally 0.5856. Oh, yeah, sorry, 0.5444. Right.
So is our plan to replace the one that's maturing in 24?
Yes, we have to go, because this one will, the other one will go through 2032, but this one will end in December of 2024.
Okay.
The last time it will be levied is in July of 2024. So we have to go for it,
Now to keep it consistent.
and then it will be levied again in July of 2025.
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Okay.
So total, right now, we're getting 1.4742. Is that
Yes,
right?
something that, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. So the thing that you have to do either at this board meeting or in January is you have to decide when you're gonna go for that millage. And so there is an August primary. It's a state primary. It doesn't have anything to do with the presidential. So there will be a state primary. It's not something that we will have to pay for. So that'd be August 6th. So you just need to make, before we can get anything started, you just have to make a motion, or you have to approve going for the millage before the committee can form and anything else can move forward.
We have to decide the date first.
No.
Yes,
Well, yes, on the election.
yes, on the election day,
And our only two choices are August or November.
correct.
And, go ahead, Renee.
Oh, I was just looking through, the information. you
All the
gave us and
millages?
Trying to look and see if there's any pattern. of
There's
what's
no
happening.
pattern. There is
Like,
no
what's the
pattern.
pattern?
Well, and like when you look at those, like the pattern for millages, within the last 5 years, it's been 5-7 years. That's what you notice, right? But you can't really do that when you have a millage in 2032, because it's too close to. Within 3 years, you're gonna be asking for another millage or, something like that. So,
I thought I saw a suggestion that we put both of them up and then make modification to the second one. Did I see that? In the documentation I read this afternoon?
I don't think I said that.
May have, I don't know.
I don't
think so.
remember.
So is there a strategy involved? For example, if we go for the August and it doesn't get approved, then we can try again in November?
So you won't be able to do November because you won't have the time frame to get the ballot language into the November. So then you would have to go, you could still go, because you can still go before July of 2025, but you would have to pay for it,
Mm.
right? Yeah.
So Kelly, educate me. What is your optimal here? What do you want the best?
I think our best shot is in August.
Okay.
And rather than November.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it's a cleaner space to decision in also
Mhm.
for the voter, right? Without, as it'll continue to come through the presidential
So
election.
I don't know. I don't know, because sometimes you get people accusing you of trying to slip something through when everybody's out of town. Like in an August,
that's
in
true.
August prime. I'm not saying that's not a reason to do it, but that is a criticism sometimes of August primary.
Well, and I can tell you when Maria and I talked to, what's his name, John at that Public Library Association, he said, you should go in November.
Yeah,
Did he? What was his reason?
Because everybody's out to vote and I can't remember his reasoning. Maria, do you remember?
Basically, people are out voting or whatever. I just think
well, that's
it's different times.
but that is the thing that's the argument about August that makes people mad is like,
Mhm.
you made a decision for me. Yes, it's their fault they didn't vote, but you made a decision for me with a low voter turnout.
But now more people can absentee ballot
Yeah.
than before,
Yeah.
so they get that, and what is it, it comes out like what, June?
Yeah.
17th or 18th?
June 27th, it has to be in the house.
So
My point is, I'm happy I can see good reasons to go for either one. I just don't know. A year ago, I feel better about where we are. I was so sensitive to how we were viewed by the community. Everything we did made people angry. I would not want to have chosen August because I do think people would accuse us of trying to pull a fast one. And I don't feel that that's gonna happen now, and I know we can promote what's happening, but I just wanna just put it out there that it might be a reason to choose November.
I'm in harmony with what you say. When I initially joined this board, people did not view that as a favorable move. They thought I was committing political suicide or whatever. I don't know exactly, but I think that has changed with the different composition of the board.
Mhm.
But I did notice here I just read some of the numbers, as I flipped through this chart this afternoon, and some of them, when there are, not on election day, the passage is very narrow. I mean, there's one that was like 668 to 660. And the thought that I had there was the people who are against are passionate. And they're more likely to turn out. So if you look at, I mean, I'm just guessing. But if people are passionately against, I don't want to pay for this. And other people are, yeah, it's nice. If I got time, I'll stop in and vote. You know, that's my concern. And I think that you get a more representative answer if everybody's out pulling lever for, president or else. I think there's a consideration that has to be recognized.
What are your
I'm open.
thoughts? What are your thoughts, Kelly, around preparedness with respect to these 2 days, right?
Well, the longer you have to prepare, the more you can reach more people, right? I mean, so if you think about if you went in August and absentee ballots are in houses, they have to be in houses by June 27th, I think is the date, or June 17th, there's a 7 in there or something. But so you have to have all your publicity done by April, because you have April, May, and June, basically, before people start filling out an absentee ballot.
Well, the other thing about November is people are back from September, October, when the kids are in school, they're using the library. We have a lot of contact with the families and who's gonna vote for, the library is gonna be people and families, and they see the library is really active and reminding you in September and October how valuable it is. It may be, maybe that's the reason why November, but did the chart say that November didn't pass?
When you take a look at the pass fail, there's only a few fails.
Yeah,
Really. So I think that my impression was it's a good shot.
Right.
High probability of success.
Either day, really.
Yeah, I get that impression.
And the thing is, we plan on having a 2024 library extravaganza again in September. So that can work to thank voters from the August vote, or it can work to gather votes for the November vote. Do you know what I mean? So
my own thought initially on this was, if you take a look at our community, we are generally a high education, a relatively high income community with respect for the cultures, arts, and libraries in particular, I think. And I think that our library is a good product. And it gets respect in the community, because when I talk to people, I'm a member of the board. Oh, well, that's great. Now that the board has changed. It wasn't for a while. But I think that with the November election, that sentiment will reflect more than I'm fiercely against, I'm going to vote and I'll vote against. So you'll probably get a better reflection of what the community considers by going on election day. Just a guess.
The thing I did notice about the ones that failed, it seems like more of them were new
Yes.
villages than
Yes.
renewals.
yes.
I do feel that, I don't know if I feel strongly about August or November. I think it's I think there is support. I hear you, Bob, I think either one is fine, thinking about how much time we have to promote and maybe that's the part I'm considering.
Yeah, I think that's kind of where I'm at too. I think the likelihood of passage is probably pretty fair on either date. I feel like the November date might give the staff and the committee and everybody involved a little more opportunity to do the things, the activities to promote the library. But by the same token, I do think the August date could provide more clarity to our particular issue. So, and I see a nod back there from the public, so I'll just note that.
Well, it won't be the only issue on it, right?
Well, it won't be the only issue, but it won't be as cloudy as what's happening in November. That's my perspective.
We don't know how many other issues
Yeah, I
are
don't
gonna
know
be
what
on
else
the
will be on
ballot.
the ballot.
Yeah,
on
I-
those
yeah.
dates, right? I mean, we don't know right now what will be on
Right.
those ballots, so
Right.
other people are sitting around probably having the
But,
same
you know,
conversation.
and I'm just throwing this out there because, you know, you're, like you said, there's a renewal, the renewals seem to pass. Well, you also have to, not this meeting, but, you have to decide, are you going for a renewal or are you gonna try and restore the Headley override and have an increase of 0.07% to restore it to 1? So when you put the word increase in there, then it's not just a renewal anymore.
Yes, and I did notice that there are a lot of fails with the increase, but I understand that it would be a nice thing to do.
Right. Right. But I also gave you that document that shows you what it would, if you had how much money it's gonna generate if you went for that 0.07.
I don't have that.
Oh, here.
I don't think I have that.
Well, you
How much difference is that?
Not a lot.
Yeah. I don't know if it's enough to risk, at least in the village of it. Yeah,
You just have to realize that it just continues to roll back,
right.
right?
Well, but then I think for our taste, we do have another opportunity because we have a secondary millage to address
Right, right.
that again. So,
And maybe the economy would be in a better in 2032.
right. We'll have an entirely new economy then. And we'll all be paying in Bitcoin or whatever. the currency.
I'll be retired.
How much
Oh,
money-
you're not gonna be on the board then, 2030?
How much money do we lose from, is it Brownfield?
So we pay for the DDA Brownfield and I can't figure out if we pay for the Grand River corridor. I can't remember if they take money out for that, but, yeah, I feel like, cause we get the letter about that they're taking money out, right? I wanna say between the two cities and all the stuff, it's like 50,000.
50,000?
I think so.
I thought it was more.
All right, so.
So maybe you table this till January, cause I still think we're a little hesitant on what's date.
Well, I hear you and I appreciate that, but I don't know how January's are we gonna be more clear on?
Well, I don't know.
And let me just say this, we have a quorum tonight.
Oh, right.
Gee, that's important.
So, I don't know if I want to risk it to January. It's probably the same thing Pat was thinking.
Oh,
It's like, I mean, right, we have a quorum tonight. So I would certainly entertain a motion if there's one out there from,
I move that we. Whatever we decide to do, that we use the August date.
oh,
okay, so there's a motion on the floor that we would go for either millage renewal and increase the August election date, 2024. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, it's been moved and properly seconded that we would appear on the August 2024 ballot for millage renewal and increase. Any discussion? Any more discussion?
Is it the same price to us? Which is one we have to pay for?
we don't pay for either one of
Either
them.
one.
Oh, we don't pay for either one.
No, if we went alone, then we'd have to pay
Okay.
for it.
Thank you.
Question? Any other discussion?
What did you?
I will say, I think, I mean, it's way before I joined, but some of you were here for some of the distrust that happened. even if that isn't necessarily the sentiment now, I do feel called to err on building that trust a little bit more. And I think I'm leaning towards the November because of Jim, you voiced this earlier of like to be as transparent and putting this up when more people are voting in November. And to give us more time to promote and spread the word.
Well said.
I agree.
All right. I'm seeing agreement from some around the table. Any other thoughts? Any amendments to motions?
Well, I was just gonna let it be voted down, but.
You do it however you want.
No, I'll amend the motion to say that we would choose to appear on the November ballot.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. It's been amended that we would appear on the November ballot for millage renewal or millage renewal and increase.
I'll second it.
All right.
Second, yeah.
Okay, so moved and seconded. Any discussion? Any further discussion?
Let's call for a vote. That's my job.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, motion carries. I think we have maybe one of our committee members on the line watching, so that gives her a little bit more time to work. So, thank you very much.
And if you come back in January, you can always rescind the motion.
Well, I mean, and this is the
I'm
thing, I mean,
just
folks,
saying.
you know, as we all are educated voters ourselves, and we talk to people in the community, have those conversations with your circles, and we will be back here in January, and we will talk about this again, so I think that's good guidance, Kelly, thank you.
So give us some thoughts.
Yeah, yeah. But either way, though, I would like to say, though, I do think that, because of the work of the staff, because of the product that we are delivering to the community, I do feel strongly that we will have support from the community, so.
I agree.
I think we can be confident.
Yeah.
I think.
All right. That will bring us to correspondence. Any further
I
correspondence?
gave you my correspondence, yeah.
Any correspondence, John?
No, nothing to the secretary.
All right. We have arrived at public comment, and I'm so glad that we did have two members of our public present in person tonight and one online at least. So, to our public that's present, if you have any comment, the floor is yours. Please tell us your name and maybe which town you're from, Farmington Hills, and provide your comment.
Okay, my name is Marilyn Leadham. I'm in Farmington Hills. As are my daughter and two grandkids. I love the people that you have working here. They are absolutely top notch, always bending over backwards to help you to find a way to get around that, to get you what you need. And for that, you know, I'm probably one of the most user of the Wi-Fi hotspots. I can't afford to have internet at home. And this is my way of having internet. So I have to appreciate that. One question, and maybe Pat can answer it. When I'm here and watching a video or live stream or whatever, why do I have to move the cursor to keep it going? I get kicked out if I don't move it
And is that when you're here on?
when I'm here.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh,
Are you on one of the public machines?
Yes.
That's happening. That's something we can look at. It's by design for inactivity when it locks out, so we don't have sections that'll stay stale. But we can look.
But
at
if
it.
I'm watching a video,
Right, I hear what you're saying. We can look at it.
yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me. But you know, I love coming here. When I'm at home, I'm home alone, so it's much better to come here and have people around me And I'm always greeted, they all know me, so I'm always greeted by whoever's at the desk unless they're actually helping somebody, but. Yeah, I just love it.
Excellent.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Aaron. Thank you.
We can count on your vote in favor of the bill. Thank you. I say we go for the increase.
The lottery, you guys would have all the Wi-Fi hotspots. During the summertime, sometimes it can get a little bit dicey about getting them, but sure. But no, I don't know what I'd do without having lots. I don't do a lot of reading like I used to, but.
And that's how I think our goal at this point is to let people know, how much more we do besides books, we do offer so much more than books, even if it's just community when you come in.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I appreciate hearing that so much. Thank you.
you're welcome.
All right,
Thank
Keep up the
you.
good work.
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
All right, that will take us to trustee comment. Any comments from trustee, any further comments? You guys have been chatty tonight. Any further comments from trustees?
I just have to say, I mean, this is a tiny little fragment, but I went in to get a haircut this week at the corner barber and, a place where often there's a library display in the window. So they're familiar in there with the downtown and, so John was cutting my hair and he says, yeah, so you finally got the library all straightened out, right? Everything's okay. I think so, yeah, I think so. So yeah, maybe we are ready to go.
If the word is finally getting out.
The corner barbers are
When
ready to
you
go.
hear it at the barber shop, it's somewhat official, okay? That is awesome. Yeah. Appreciate hearing that, Jim. Definitely. What you hear in the barber shop is usually gospel. Okay? Everybody knows that. Any other trustee comment? All right. Seeing none, I think that brings us to the close of our meeting, and I think we can consider ourselves adjourned. Thank you all very much.
Thank you. We all have a nice holiday.
Oh, I did wish everybody a happy holiday.